cultures,
and persons with different beliefs than yours.
Please help us to create a world
where every man, woman, and child is treated equally.
Dear parents,
please don't teach us words of hate. We learn from you every moment. If you use a certain word which might be hurtful to others, we will repeat that word. Please don't show us acts of hate.
If you act against people of different faiths,
we will repeat your actions.
Dear parents, we are your children,
and we are relying on you
to help us create a world where every person
is tolerant of one another.
I'm so glad we left that stupid party.
No joke.
Hey, baby, are you an overdue library book? Because you got fine written all over you.
Oh, barf. What about that girl with the hoop earrings?
Ridiculous. When she was dancing...
Megan, look out! Look out!
Oh my God, Becky. Becky, are you okay? My arm. I think it's broken. Can you bend it? It's already bent. In the wrong direction. I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed.
Really? Just buzzed?
Yeah, I swear.
Well, in that case, my arm is fine. Ah, that's better.
You're really okay? You're serious, Becky?
No, genius. I'm not serious.
Ow! My arm, it hurts.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
Welcome back to First Cup for the 28th day of October, 2013. Recognize this theme? It's from Galaxy Quest. Remember that great movie with Tim Allen and Bill Cott? Let's see who else is Sigourney Weaver, Tony Shalhoub, and who else was in that thing? That was a great parody of Star Trek and other sci-fi films and TV shows. I nearly forgot it is Monday, and traditionally on Mondays, we have a recap of what the president said over the weekend on his weekly radio address. And I know I've been harsh of the president on Facebook today, with his administration not being able to fix the Affordable Care website in a timely manner. They say they hope to have it done by the end of November. We'll see. And also about not knowing that various members of his department, namely the intelligence community and so forth, is spying on our own allies, which should hardly come as a surprise anyway, considering, you always spy on your friends as well as on your enemies, or perceived enemies. That's just the way politics is done. But nevertheless, for an administration that was priding itself on openness and honesty and open communication, there sure is a lot of miscommunication and double entendres and so forth going on behind the scenes. Well, enough of my babbling. It's time for the President's weekly radio address from this past Saturday.
Hi, everybody. A few weeks ago, we launched an important new part of the Affordable Care Act. It's called the Marketplace, and for Americans without health insurance and Americans who buy insurance on their own because they can't get it at work, it's a very big deal. If you're one of those people, the Affordable Care Act makes you part of a big group plan for the first time. The Marketplace is where you can apply and shop for affordable new health insurance choices. It gathers insurers under one system to compete for your business, and that choice and competition have actually helped bring prices down. Ultimately, the easiest way to buy insurance in this marketplace will be a new website, healthcare.gov. But as you may have heard, the site isn't working the way it's supposed to yet. It's frustrating for all of us who've worked so hard to make sure everyone who needs it gets healthcare. And it's especially frustrating for the Americans who've been trying to get covered. The site's been visited more than 20 million times so far. Nearly 700,000 people have applied for coverage already. And that proves just how much demand there is for these new, quality, affordable healthcare choices. And that's why, in the coming weeks, we are going to get it working as smoothly as it's supposed to. We've got people working overtime 24/7 to boost capacity and address these problems every single day. But even as we improve the website, remember that the website isn't the only way to apply for coverage under these new plans. We've updated healthcare.gov to offer more information about enrolling over the phone, by mail, or in person with a specially trained navigator who can help answer your questions. Just call 1-800-318-2596 or visit localhelp.healthcare.gov. And don't worry, these plans will not sell out. We're only a few weeks into a 6-month open enrollment period, and everyone who wants insurance through the marketplace will get it. Now, some people have poked fun at me this week for sounding like an insurance salesman, and that's okay. I'd still be out there championing this law even if the website were perfect. I'll never stop fighting to help more hardworking Americans know the economic security of healthcare. That's something we should all want. That's why it's also interesting to see Republicans in Congress expressing so much concern that people are having trouble buying health insurance through the new website, especially considering they've spent the last few years so obsessed with denying those same people access to health insurance that they just shut down the government and threatened default over it. As I've said many times before, I'm willing to work with anyone on any idea who's actually willing to make this law perform better. But it's well past the time for folks to stop rooting for its failure, because hardworking middle-class families are rooting for its success. The Affordable Care Act gives people who've been stuck with sky-high premiums because of pre-existing conditions the chance to get affordable insurance for the first time. This law means that women can finally buy coverage that doesn't charge them higher premiums than men for the same care. And everyone who already has health insurance, whether through your employer, Medicare, or Medicaid, will keep the benefits and protections this law already has put into place. 3 million more young adults have health insurance on their parents' plans because of the Affordable Care Act. More than 6 million people on Medicare have saved an average of $1,000 on their prescription medicine because of the Affordable Care Act. Last year, more than 8 million Americans received $500 million in refunds from their insurers because of the Affordable Care Act. And for tens of millions of women, preventive care like mammograms and birth control are free because of the Affordable Care Act. That's all part of this law, and it's here to stay. We did not fight so hard for this reform for so many years just to build a website. We did it to free millions of American families from the awful fear that one illness or injury to yourself or your child might cost you everything you'd worked so hard to build. We did it to cement the principle that in this country, the security of health care is not a privilege for a fortunate few, but a right for every one of us to enjoy. We've already delivered on part of that promise, and we will not rest until the work is done. Thanks, and have a great weekend.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna really, really, really wanna zig a zig.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
And now, things you need to know for this Monday, the 28th day of October, 2013. Today is St. Jude's Day. St. Jude, one of the 12 apostles, and the patron saint of hopeless causes, much like this program. It's also Animation Day. And did you know that Volume 1 of the Beatles book is over 900 plus pages in length? Yeah, a new 3-volume set about the Beatles begins rolling out this week. The first volume, Tune In, The Beatles, All These Years, is in stores tomorrow. The highly anticipated groundbreaking biographical trilogy by the world's leading Beatles historian, Mark Lewisohn, launches with Volume 1 that's over 900 pages. Hope they have the book on tape version available. And news attack today, a man in Georgia ran back into his burning house to save his pack of Bud Light. Actually, he went back inside to save his pretzels, but then remembered that pretzels make him thirsty, so he also was looking for more beer. And over the weekend, did you notice this? The Obamacare website, the girl on that website, She vanished. Yeah, the woman who was featured on the healthcare.gov homepage was the subject of a media hunt from various news organizations such as CNN, Fox News, and I say, well, actually Faux News, that's F-A-U-X, but Fox News and others. Well, she's mysteriously gone. Her face has been replaced by an image of the 4 ways Americans can get health care, which is probably what they should have had up on the website in the first place. And trick-or-treating with our pets. Seems that dressing up your dog or hamster. You dress up a hamster? Dressing up your pet ages ago would have made you been considered a batty pet owner, but not anymore. As a matter of fact, sales of pet costumes have soared in recent years from $220 million in 2010 to $370 million in 2012. And in movie news over the weekend, Lou Reed. Let's try that again. Bad Grandpa floats past gravity. Really? Captain Phillips couldn't knock off gravity, but a guy about an 86-year-old grandpa taking his 8-year-old grandson on a... Oh, well, I won't get into that. Grandpa floats past gravity. Gravity got pushed around by a Bad Grandpa at the weekend box office. After 3 weeks on top of the Sandra Bullock sci-fi drama, moved down to second place to make way for Bad Grandpa, which made $32 million this weekend. You know, I think Gravity is a highly overrated movie, but still, I think it would probably have a little more intellectual prowess than Bad Grandpa. Now, that's not to say that I'm going to not watch Bad Grandpa, because I think it would be a funny movie to watch, but really? Finally, as you've probably heard yesterday, Lou Reed dies at the age of 71. He was the lead singer of the Velvet Underground. He died yesterday morning in Southampton, New York, of an illness related to a liver transplant. And some of my first memories of Lou Reed, when I really started to get familiar with his music, was what was that most popular song, and my mind just went blank on the name of it. Take a Walk on the Wild Side. I remember back in my college days when the campus radio station went back on the air, and I swear there was one guy, I don't know who it was, but he played that song every single time he was on the air. And I got sick of that song really fast. Now, I'm not diminishing Lou Reed's contributions to the music industry. I think he's done some great things. But I think Take a Walk on the Wild Side is highly overrated. There, I've said it for the record. And it's one of those songs that I will never miss if it's never played again. It goes right over there with Stevie Nicks' Edge of 17, or John Mellencamp's Jack and Diane. I've heard them so many times, I don't care to hear them again. Oh, anyway. That's things you need to know on this Monday. Now let's take a look at news headlines.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
And in news headlines today, Benghazi attack was planned. That's according to a security officer. Seems on last night's 60 Minutes program, they aired an interview with a former British soldier who has been protecting U.S. diplomats for a decade. He used the pseudonym Morgan Jones and spoke about last year's attack on the embassy in Benghazi, Libya. He said the attack on September 11th, 2012 was orchestrated by al-Qaeda against a barely protected American outpost. He said al-Qaeda threatened online to attack the Red Cross, the British, and then the Americans in Benghazi. Jones said the attack on the embassy came as no surprise because al-Qaeda had followed through on other threats. He said U.S. government officials knew of this threat. He said he warned the ambassador to shut down the embassy 3 months before the attack. And 1 year after Superstorm Sandy hit the east coast of the United States, many displaced pets are yet unclaimed. Hundreds of pets lost and abandoned during the hurricane are living as strays living in cages and shelters, according to pet rescue volunteers. Some owners had to leave their pets at shelters, when they had nowhere to go. However, some did not follow through on their plans to come reclaim their pets when they had their lives put back together. according to the